Today is day 25 of the Karen Read trial. I'm going to give you my daily recap. Before the jury is brought in, the judge rules that the text messages can be brought in through Jonathan Diamandis, who is the friend of Michael Proctor that was on the group text. They did a voir dire of this on Friday, and she's saying there are some things that will be redacted, but the majority of the text messages can come in through him. I'm not fully understanding the defense's play at this, but we'll see how it pans out, if they still end up calling Proctor or if they end up calling another friend. But it really sounds like they're just laying the foundation of these text messages for the full trial. So we learned this during the voir dire, but he's been friends with Michael Proctor for a long time, like 30 years or something. They graduated high school in 2000, and he's on the group chat together. Proctor goes by Chip and Bear as nicknames in the group chat. And they enter the whole text conversation into evidence. I think it was like 38,000 text messages. Was it 3,800 or 38,000? I don't know if I put that down. And Yannetti is doing the questioning. Brennan starts doing the cross-examination, and he wants to know, like, you and Proctor are still friends to this day? And he says yes. Did you know that Michael Proctor was fired due to the contents of these text messages? And there's an objection and a sidebar, but eventually he says he does know that. And he was like, did he tell you why? And he said he knew it was due just to this case, and it was just because of these text messages. Brennan wants to make it clear that he is just a friend. He actually isn't very active in any of the communications when these texts are sent. So I'm not sure specifically why this friend was chosen, because he looks like a version of like Michael Bublé, and he looks very sweet and innocent, and like, why would you use this person to read some of these text messages out loud? And that's what the defense is intending to do. So what ends up happening, if you want the full recap of all the text messages that were read, you can go back to my first trial daily recap. I believe it was day 22 of trial number 1, where all of the text messages are read on the stand by Michael Proctor. I'm sure you could find a video about that on YouTube, but I did post it on my YouTube, trial 1, I'm pretty sure day 22. At some point, this little baby-faced man says, I am not comfortable reading some of these text messages coming up. Do I have to read these? They have a sidebar. They get to explain at sidebar, but basically Brennan reads some of the more explicit text messages where he uses the CUNT word and explains some things about her anatomy, which are graphic. Yannetti does the redirect, and he says, at this point you didn't know anything about Karen Read's medical conditions, correct? Correct. He didn't know anything about this case at all. All these text messages happened on February 1st. A lot of the gist of it was the homeowner's also a Boston cop. He's not going to get in trouble either. We're going to pin it on the girl. That kind of thing was said. The next witness is Kelly Dever, and I was really not expecting her to be so hostile. She has no clue why she's here. She's letting everybody know that. She's got a ton of attitude. She's being questioned by Alan Jackson, who actually comes off really sensitive. And then she just gets more defiant, and Jackson is like, F this, and he goes full send as well. She's been a Boston police officer on patrol for the past 2 years. She did work for the Canton Police for a number of years, and in January 2022, she was a patrol officer there. She's never prepared any reports related to this investigation. Her first conversation was in August of 2023 by another organization. Says she doesn't know why she's here. Jackson at one point asked if she's uncomfortable, and she says, no, this is a part of my job. And he wants to know if you remember being interviewed on August 2nd, 2023 by a separate agency. She says yes. She's also asked, what time did you leave shift on January? It was coming in to be January 29th. So essentially she was out on patrol. She got a call from Sergeant Good that she needed to come man the dispatch station, and he needed to go to the scene of where this person in the snow was. So she was at the patrol desk doing dispatch for a while. He wants to know, did you observe something in the Sallyport garage on January 29th, 2022 that you found unusual and stuck out in your mind? She says no. Did you tell the law enforcement officers that interviewed you that you saw Brian Higgins and Berkowitz go into the Sally Port together and alone with Karen Read's SUV? She says, yes, that was her recollection at the time. Basically, she since then has said, this was an accident. I wasn't there. I got off at 3:45. I know Karen Read's vehicle didn't come in until 5 something. I didn't see any of this. I made the whole thing up. It was just kind of like a misrepresentation. Jackson wants to know if she brought legal counsel from the police to speak to this investigation too. She also got called to the commissioner's office, and it's a little interesting. Brennan does the cross-examination. He's like, hey, like, the defense here is trying to get you to say something that is not true, and what you are telling us right now today is the truth. Is that correct? And she's like, yes. Jackson does some more redirect, and he says the full statement from the FBI that she gave to the FBI. She said she saw Higgins and Berkowitz in the Sally Port. So basically, she's the first person on the stand in this trial to mention the FBI and also to mention that there was a first trial. No other witness has said that yet. They all have said that there were prior proceedings. She is also friends with Sarah Levinson. She did make that abundantly clear to everyone beforehand. She's seen some footage of the case. She doesn't know what a sequestration order means, so she says, I haven't watched any of Sarah Levinson's case, but I have seen parts of this case. The last thing that she says to Brennan was that her whole job depends on her testimony today, which was really interesting. And Jackson was like, you're testifying right now here in court that your whole job and your career and your livelihood depends on your testimony today. So why would you not tell the truth? You're gonna just tell what this one side wants to hear, is what he was alluding to. We have our morning break, and then we have Dr. Marie Russell on the stand. She testified in the first trial. She is the dog bite expert per se. She's a forensic pathologist. She is also an emergency room physician. So she's done 2 medical residencies. This woman is extremely qualified. She went to Northeastern. She's from the Massachusetts area, and she became familiar with this case because of reading about it in the Boston Globe, and Alessi is doing the questioning, and he asked her about that specifically, like, did you have interest in this case? Did you reach out? And yes, she reached out. She lives in LA. She reached out to the district attorney there who knew Alan Jackson, and they were put in contact, and she said she just wanted to provide clarity on these wounds to see, like, is this a dog bite or not? She thought she had a unique perspective because of her experience and wanted to share. As a forensic pathologist, have you ever conducted autopsies of decedents based from motor vehicle accidents? She said about 20 to 30. And then for dog inflicted injuries, she says about 40. But as a team, maybe 60. She thinks she has like a lot of expertise in this and calls herself a dog bite expert. She said that motor vehicle accidents are mostly consistent with lower extremity fractures and bruises, and we didn't see that here. Oftentimes when someone is being attacked, they put their arms up in the defensive position, so they get bites on the posterior area of their arm and forearm. We see this graphic here of a dog's mouth. She says that it's got like a triangular pattern. She's familiar with patterns in dog bite wounds. And usually dogs don't bite with all of their teeth. Usually it's just the upper jaw. I'm gonna have you guys go to part 2 for the end of this, since we're not gonna fit everything in part 1.